There are several actions that the wealthy take which the less fortunate often neglect, either due to a lack of knowledge or a simple reluctance to change. Generating wealth involves a combination of factors, and while the topics I'll discuss won't guarantee success, they can significantly enhance your chances. I recommend watching this video at least once a month. Please take these insights with a grain of salt. They are intended to prompt reflection on your current situation and inspire you to consider what you can do to improve your circumstances. There are many exceptions to these rules, and not everyone controls their circumstances. However, being aware of these habits and activities might give you a slight edge, and by avoiding them, you might find yourself closer to achieving your dreams. There are a few things poor people do that the rich avoid. One major habit is watching a lot of TV. If you find yourself with ample time for reality TV, it's likely a sign of poverty. It's astounding how much time people waste on meaningless television, a distraction that easily ensnares you. If you know which celebrity is dating whom, if you eagerly await weekly TV episodes, or if you have a favorite news channel, you're probably watching too much television. This habit contributes to your life's current state. Celebrity gossip and buzz add no value to your life. They only serve to benefit the celebrities themselves. In contrast, wealthy individuals aim to be on TV rather than watching it. You might argue, but I'm watching Grey's Anatomy, which is an educational show and helps me disconnect. That's precisely the issue. You disconnect from your problems instead of confronting and resolving them. Think about it. Should sitting passively in front of a screen really be something you enjoy? Let's delve into having a favorite news channel. You might believe that watching TV is essential for staying informed about the world. However, TV stations are often biased, pushing their own agendas. Instead, leverage the power of the internet to get a quick snapshot of global events and then move on to focus on your own pursuits. Wealthy individuals make sacrifices in the present for the future. They understand the importance of starting early. How early? As early as possible. The best time to begin was 10 years ago, the second best was yesterday, and the third best is right now. Due to their education and the extensive success books they read, they realize that success doesn't happen overnight, so they start putting in the work. They sacrifice immediate gratification and invest the most crucial asset they have: time. While the poor are out partying, the future wealthy are hustling. While the poor watch TV, the rich read self-development books. While you waste time on unproductive activities, the future rich are investing that time into their craft. We all have the same 24 hours in a day. Beyoncé and Jay-Z have the same 24 hours as you do. They simply use it differently. So don't expect to achieve the same results without making similar sacrifices. Another significant difference is diet. Poor people often consume fast food, neglecting their health. Many are uninterested in knowing what's in their food, what a healthy meal looks like, or understanding nutrition. Poor diets filled with sugar and unhealthy fats degrade their bodies, preventing them from performing at their full potential. This impacts all areas of life: physical, mental, professional, and even romantic. Focusing on health is crucial. The only way to help others is by first helping yourself, and you can't do that if you're not physically capable. You'd be surprised at the time, effort, and money the wealthy invest in maintaining a healthy lifestyle. They focus on eating right, keeping their bodies healthy, and ensuring they are mentally strong. Another habit is their approach to spending. Poor people often buy clothes or products on sale. The only thing you should buy on sale is stocks. While the poor look to conserve or stretch their limited resources, the rich focus on increasing their incomes. Just think about it. The clothes that end up on sale are the ones that people who could afford to pay full price didn't want. By buying clothes on sale, you're ensuring that you look like someone who can't afford to pay the full price. Another interesting point is that poor people are really into sports. The truth is, unless you're a professional athlete or an owner of one of the teams, there's no real reason for you to watch sports. Like television, it's a form of escapism from your current reality. Think of it this way. You're putting yourself in a position where you, as an individual, have no impact on the outcome of the game. Zero impact. This behavior then becomes a habit, and you end up being a spectator in life instead of being a player or an owner. This leads to criticizing others when you haven't achieved anything better yourself. Moreover, poor people often don't shower as frequently as rich people. Initially, this might seem like a made-up fact, but it turns out to be true, and it explains a lot when you really think about it. Most jobs today are in the service industries, where human contact is essential for successful exchanges of value. People who don't maintain good personal hygiene will eventually be less successful than their counterparts. People tend to trust them less and prefer to spend less time in their presence, impacting their personal and professional lives. If people don't like you or want to be around you, what kind of partners will you attract? It might seem trivial, but the first step to success could be as simple as taking an early morning shower. Poor people also tend to blame others for their misfortune. How many people do you know who have excuses or blame external factors for their lack of success? While some things are out of our control, 99% of your life is up to you. Remember, you are in charge of your life, your relationships, and your health. If you want these to change, do something about it. Life is not about what happens to us, but how we react to what happens. When something bad occurs, the poor often victimize themselves, while the rich analyze the situation, understand why it happened, and learn how to protect themselves in the future. One adopts a vulnerable victim mindset, while the other uses it as a growth opportunity. Finally, poor people never follow through on their ideas or potential. You can't control who your parents are, where you are born, or how society treats you. The only thing you can control is the amount of time you invest in your dream. Every person alive has only 24 hours in a day, yet some accomplish much more than others. If you dedicate yourself to learning and implementing more about what you're passionate about, success is just a matter of time. You've heard that 9 out of 10 businesses fail in their first 3 years. But do you know how many businesses fail because they never got started? The answer is all of them. If you have an idea, work on it. Put it out there, get feedback, improve it, and launch it again and again and again. Poor people often believe that others should help them reach the top. The truth is, the world doesn't owe you anything. Nobody does. Believe it or not, you're in this by yourself. You are in charge of what happens in your life. Everyone believes when they're young that they're going to be successful, but then reality happens. The world we live in rewards only the best, those who never quit, those who keep learning, keep adapting, and understand that nobody will solve their problems for them. Face your challenges head-on, and along the way you might meet people who feel the same and might share parts of the journey with you. Otherwise, you'll just be part of the majority that's destined to fail. Poor people often have no money saved. One major difference between the poor and the rich is that the former aren't prepared for what's next. Having money set aside allows for growth. If something bad happens, savings can solve the problem, allowing you to resume your life. Without savings, in an urgent situation, you might have to liquidate assets like your car or house, or take out a loan. For the rich, when the situation is over, they still have their savings. But for the poor, their lifestyle has been dramatically impacted, or they now owe a creditor. Now let's consider the opposite scenario. An opportunity arises. Those with money saved can seize the opportunity, while those without cannot. This is why the rich get richer while the poor get poorer. Poor people often use credit cards or take out loans for unnecessary things. A fundamental difference between the rich and the poor is how they use credit. The rule is simple. If you take out a loan to buy something that doesn't generate more money than the loan, don't take it. It's that simple. Use credit only if it's for an investment. Want to take out a loan for a large TV? Don't. Want a loan to buy that new MacBook Pro? Don't. Want to use credit cards to get the new iPhone? Don't. An Android is better anyway, LOL. Yeah, I know. Come at me in the comments. But before you do, like, subscribe, and share. Unless you're using that MacBook to create content and make a profit, or using your iPhone to develop a new app to grow your business, these items shouldn't be on credit. Instead, earn the money first, then spend it. Poor people also tend to have more kids, and at an earlier age. The truth is, kids are really expensive. We all know how fun it is to make them, or at least practice making them, but many people get stuck at this point. Many don't believe it's true. But to give you a sense of perspective, raising a child in one of the more developed countries will cost you approximately $250,000. Due to a lack of education, environment, and other factors, poor people tend to have more children and at a younger age than their wealthy counterparts. The rich often wait a few years until their living standards improve, ensuring the right environment and prime conditions for their child to flourish. In contrast, the poor often proceed without such considerations. Once the baby arrives, the struggle begins just to stay afloat, making progress beyond mere survival nearly impossible. Another critical point is that poor people often do not get regular checkups. This neglect can have dire consequences. For instance, if you have a serious disease like cancer, regular checkups can lead to early detection, making treatment more affordable and effective. However, if you neglect these checkups, you might discover the disease only when it's too late, costing you and your family a fortune and potentially your life. Poor people also tend to spend money before they get it. One of the biggest dangers in life is spending money before you have it. The moment you start borrowing money or incurring expenses before you can pay them, your life begins to spiral downward. If you don't have money for something without affecting your life, you simply can't afford it. Go back to work and then get it. Additionally, poor people often surround themselves with other poor people. Remember, you are the sum of the 5 people you hang out with most. If you're surrounded by 4 poor people, guess who's the 5th? One way people ensure they stay poor is by associating with others who reinforce their core beliefs. You need people around you who will inspire you and push you further. Those who are doing incredible things themselves, whose success will motivate you to exceed your current reality. If you're still hanging out with the same people you did when you were young, you might want to reconsider. Don't be afraid to step away from a crowd and move on to something better. If you don't, your potential might be crushed by those who want to feel better about their own miserable lives by ensuring you suffer the same fate. Poor people are a lot more religious than rich people. Can you imagine the chaos if we started the video with this one? Statistically speaking, successful people rely on their own efforts for their well-being, while the poor hope that a mythical force will somehow reward them for being good. Even though presidents or CEOs might mention God in their speeches, they are often not deeply religious. For instance, Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg was an atheist for most of his life, but changed his stance when he considered a future in politics. Rich people read a lot. Here's an interesting fact. Top CEOs in the world read at least 50 books per year. Do you know how many books the average person reads per year? The answer is 1.5, and it's usually fiction or romance. What if I told you that you could gain access to all the knowledge a person has accumulated in their entire life, learn from their mistakes, and understand what made them successful in just a couple of days or even hours? How incredible would that be? Well, you can, with books. They are pure knowledge in written form. Reading, especially for self-development purposes, is incredibly underrated. No matter what your passion is, you can learn from the written knowledge of the greats in your field. And don't stop there. Read success stories from different niches because you never know what idea their stories might spark on your own journey. So next time you're wondering why a top CEO earns 10, 20, or 50 times more than you do, remember that while you're staying the same, they continue to educate themselves. A strong differentiating factor between the rich and the poor is that the rich try to get to know themselves as much as possible. They actively spend time trying to find out what they want to do with their life and then do everything they can to become better at that one thing. If you have a talent that gives you an unfair advantage, bet on it. That doesn't mean you need to be born special. You just need to want it more and be willing to put in the work. Remember, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't put in the work. The only way to guarantee you'll never be great at anything is by trying to be great at everything. The educational system combined with faulty parenting are partially at fault here. Let's say you have a child in school who is great with computers but lags behind in French. What do parents do? They get him a French tutor. Parents often ensure their kids are as mediocre as everyone else's instead of giving the child more resources to develop what he's already passionate about. It's shocking how many people have just a vague idea of their passions, and even fewer put effort into developing those passions into useful skills. The rich, on the other hand, find their passion and then go all in. The rich don't protest or boycott. The truly rich got to where they are by creating value for others. That's the only recipe for becoming the richest. Although they might sometimes disagree with external circumstances, their focus is always on how they can add more value. It's easy to complain, but really hard to be on the other side of the table, trying to be the one coming up with solutions. The rich think in terms of abundance, not scarcity. The moment you understand that there is unlimited wealth around us, your worldview changes. This is something very few people are aware of, and that's why they're rich. While poor people think there is a limited amount of wealth to go around, the rich look to innovate and create wealth where the average folks don't see any value or are simply unable to look beyond appearances. Scarcity is one of the major reasons why people stay poor and never escape poverty. They think there's never more than what they currently have, and their focus is on conserving what little they have for as long as possible. Guess what happens at some point? That little bit will run out. The rich think in terms of abundance. Value is continually created, and there are no limits to the amount of innovation and value one can put into the world. While the poor think of wealth as a limited pie from which they need to get themselves some breadcrumbs, the rich understand there's an unlimited supply of pies. Anyone can have a piece without meaning someone else will be left without. We see it so often where people think all the rich people somehow stole the richness from others just to have it for themselves. There's nothing less true than that. The fact that Bill Gates created a software company that 1.5 billion people use to improve their own lives, and that makes him a billionaire, has no impact on your ability to get rich. Just because Elon Musk is building an electric car company really has no negative impact on your chances of becoming a millionaire or billionaire yourself. The rich are not limited by their beliefs, but the poor are. Rich people believe. They are responsible for their own fate. Successful people rely on themselves and themselves alone, while the poor look for any opportunity to make excuses. It's because of the government. It's because of the market crisis. It's because I'm not good enough. I never get the credit I deserve. I never get lucky. These are all just excuses. The road to success or financial freedom is not an easy one, and unless you are born into a very rich family, you'll have to walk it yourself. If you are smart, you can speed up the pace, but there are no shortcuts. Rich people don't blame others for their misfortunes. They don't expect the government to take care of them. They take charge of their own lives and craft them the way they want. Remember, If you're not building your own life, someone else will hire you to build theirs. Stop with the excuses. 86% of the millionaires and billionaires in the world are self-made. That's almost 9 out of 10. They built their own fortunes from scratch through hard work and by being smart about it. They are the masters of their own fate. What about you? Will you be the one steering the boat or just another random person being dragged around by the current? It's time to make a choice. Maybe this video will help you in your journey. If you know someone who's guilty of any of these things, please do them a favor and show them this video. I'm curious to know, what things do you believe poor people do that the rich don't? Share your thoughts in the comments. Also remember to like and subscribe. Rich people set financial goals. Almost every single rich person I've met or read about understands the importance of setting clear financial goals. These aren't the vague, I want to have $1 billion type of goals, but more like, I want to make $100,000 by the end of the year. If I'm starting on January 1st, that means I need to generate $274 every single day. That's around $8,250 every month. What do I need to do to make that happen? How much money am I currently earning? What can I do to increase my output or make my work more efficient? Do I charge more? Do I add new products? Do I add a new stream of income? Rich people set high but achievable goals that push them just beyond their comfort zones, demanding growth to achieve them. Even if you fail to reach that exact number at the end, you're likely to be closer to it than if you hadn't set the goal in the first place. I myself have clear goals. I have goals for the next 6 months, the next year, the next 5 years, and long-term goals because I know where I am going. All of my actions are set to get me closer to them. Here's a quick tip I learned from a millionaire friend. Write your short-term goals on the bathroom mirror. That way, you see them every day, and it's a pleasure to cross them off when completed. Write your medium-term goals, 1 to 5 years, on a bill that you always keep in your wallet. Never pay with it, but every time you open your wallet, you'll be reminded of the goal you promised yourself and be motivated to do more to get closer to it. Rich people let their money work for them. This is one of the basics, and unless you understand this, there's very little chance you'll ever be rich. Or even if you do get rich, you won't stay rich. Rich people don't make money to buy name-brand shoes and clothes or for the purpose of spending it all. They work hard to earn money so they can make smart investments that generate steady income flows, protecting them from outside forces. Let me explain. Let's say you've somehow got your hands on $100,000. I know, not that much money. But anyway, there are 2 types of people in this situation. One will take all of the money and buy a new 2024 Mercedes-Benz Sport just to show off their new whip. This is a depreciating asset. The second you drive out of that showroom, that $100K starts going down. The amortization on a car is around 10 years, so every year the car loses $10,000 of its worth, not to mention the straight 20% you lose if you try to sell it immediately, because now it's a pre-owned car. The other person will look at acquiring an appreciating asset. For those of you who have never heard that term, appreciating means growing in value. Depending on where you live, $100,000 might even be enough to get yourself some real estate. Rent that place out immediately and it starts paying you money month after month. After 10 years, the place you bought not only paid you at least the $100K back in rent, but if you wanted to sell it, you'd get more than what you initially paid for it. Make money and have that money work for you. If nothing else, take that money and immediately pay off any debt you have. At least that allows you to have a shot at growth. Rich people play the long game. They understand that this is not going to happen overnight. They know it's the small efforts repeated over extended periods that will get them to where they want to be. What do the poor do? They want to be rich, and they want it now, preferably without any sacrifice. Unless you are born into a wealthy family or you're so incredibly talented that the world rewards you with a rock star life, guess what? It's going to take you at least 10 years of incredible hustle just to get yourself in a position where you have an actual shot at really being rich. It's easy to look at the end result, but nobody talks about the road to get there. 99% of Warren Buffett's wealth was earned after his 50th birthday, despite him buying his first stocks when he was 11 years old. Just think about that. Most people overestimate what they can do in 1 year, but massively underestimate what they can do in 20 or 40 years. Play the long game. A luxurious life awaits you. Don't quit. Keep playing, keep pushing, and all those small efforts will add up to something great. Study other successful people. Just because they got successful themselves, that doesn't mean that's where it all ends. Rich people always analyze the moves other rich people make to both maintain a competitive edge and learn from others. Spend a good portion of your time learning about how other people became successful. Learn from their successes and their mistakes. Rich people understand the world is changing. The world doesn't care about what you're comfortable with. Change is happening, and your ability to understand that will make or break your future. While the rich focus on the significance of cryptocurrency, the poor are living in the past. Every rich person thinks their best days are in the present and the future, while the poor always bring up how the good old days are gone. Both the beauty and the drama of this is that the world doesn't give a bleep about you. As an individual, you are one of almost 8 billion people, and you were born as naked as everyone else. You need to do the best you can with what you're given and try not only to keep up but stay ahead of the curve. Otherwise, the world will come crashing down on your head. How many top executives have you heard of recently coming under fire for still doing the same things they did back in the, ironically, good old days? One of the best things that one can do for their finances is study as many business models as possible. Rich people understand that the world is always changing, and simply making it once is not enough to maintain success. Remember cassette tapes? What an incredible innovation! A lot of people got rich back then. Then the CDs and DVDs came, and the world changed. Some people bet on the switch. Others thought they were invincible. You're kinda happy for those who bet on CDs, aren't you? Well, just a couple of years later, most of them got crushed when they weren't agile enough to see how big streaming would become. The world rewards those who facilitate progress, and those who don't. Well, they've had a good run. Poor people wake up later than rich people do in their early years. Poor people are often lazier than the rich. In the early days, we know that some of you will be bothered a lot by the previous statement, but statistically, it's the truth. Someone who used their youth to grow themselves is a lot less likely to remain poor later in life. Instead, if you wake up late, don't educate yourself, and waste time on meaningless activities, at one point, you'll find yourself so far behind what the world needs from you that you'll end up miserable. The paradox lies in the fact that those who neglect growth in their early days end up toiling harder with little success rate later in life just to stay afloat. You probably know a few of these influential figures: Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Warren Buffett, and more. They all wake up early. The rich sleep less than the poor. Here's the hard truth. Most people who are poor are lazy. While there are exceptions and special circumstances, the majority of poor individuals remain in their circumstances due to a lack of determination to break free. Let's delve deeper into this because it's crucial to understand what we mean when we say poor people are lazy. There are two types of laziness. First, those who disdain work and would rather collect welfare while having children to sustain themselves, hoping that one of these children will be their ticket out. The second type of lazy person is the one who knows that investing time in learning a new skill would benefit them, but they choose not to. Rich people are not afraid of extensive work. The average entrepreneur on the path to success works at least 14 hours per day. In the initial years, the fewer hours you sleep, the more time you have to dedicate to your work. However, the goal is to have something worth waking up early for. Waking up at 4:30 a.m. every day doesn't guarantee success if you don't make good enough use of the time you have in the day. Why don't you make good use of it? Because you're too lazy to learn and improve yourself to the point where you know exactly what you need to do every day until you reach your goal. Rich people are making the world a better place. This is something the poor hate to be told, and it's likely the point I'll receive most of the hate for. Believe it or not, the bulk of all innovation in the history of mankind was financed by the wealthy. Everything around us, and everything we know about the world today, wouldn't exist without some rich person or group making a risky bet. If it weren't for modern medicine developed by pharmaceutical companies that people love to hate, guess what? You'd face an early and painful death. Nobody is perfect, but it's the rich who keep pushing boundaries further and further. It's the rich who provide aid in times of need, and it's the rich who invest in breakthrough technologies that challenge what we know to be true. America was built on the investments of private individuals who financed the exploration of new sailing routes. Without visionaries like Elon Musk or Jeff Bezos, discussions about venturing to Mars and its implications for humanity wouldn't be happening. Hate on the wealthy all you want, but the phone or laptop you're watching this on wouldn't exist if someone hadn't decided to push forward with a great idea. Rich people get paid for results, not for time. Individuals who are paid based on time try to stretch out the duration of their tasks as much as possible. The rich have no interest in prolonging tasks unnecessarily. They're motivated to achieve the best results as quickly as possible. Their ability to complete tasks through hard work and creative problem-solving sets them apart from the rest. If you're smart, you'll view everything said in this video as motivation rather than a means to bring others down. Watch this video and be inspired. Remember, money is not the end goal. It's a tool that facilitates making a positive impact on the world. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more content like this. Leave a comment below if you have any questions or thoughts to share. And if you think someone else could benefit from this information, please share this video with them. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.